Hey, fellow theme park fans, Eglantine, the homegrown tourist here, and we already did the Magic Kingdom. We went through the brackets. We figured out what the #1 attraction in Magic Kingdom was. To everybody's surprise, it was the Haunted Mansion. Oh, spoiler alert, you should go check it out yourself, right? I don't think anybody was surprised at that, though. Anybody?
No.
Not even. The only thing that I even thought could hold a candle to it was Splash Mountain. The one I voted for. Loser. Okay, so we've got EPCOT now. I've got the brackets. I've got the contests. I even added one by request. It's an older attraction, but they say they're going to bring it back, so I included it. With me to help argue and fight and get into knockdown drag-outs without harsh language, I've got Professor Pixel.
Howdy.
We've got POTUS Thump. How you doing, sir?
That's me. Doing great.
All righty. We've got Dalton, the Authenticator.
Yes, hello and good evening, folks.
And we've got Mark. I will not try to butcher your last name. What's up?
Pellegrini. It's like a Pellegrino, the water.
So it's Pellegrino?
Go ahead and call it that. But yeah, Pellegrini.
We shall now forever call him Pellegrino the Water. Okay, so
I got you.
Yeah. All righty.
Into that one, Mark. Sorry.
Speaking of Mark and water and all things cool and drinkable and such, we're going to start this off. We're going to start right away here and go to the very first contest. And this is between Club Cool and EPCOT's KidCot. Now, if you don't know what these are, Club Cool was a place to go to where you could enjoy Coca-Colas from around the world. I myself preferred when you had to walk through that snowy ice base to get to it. And KidCot is where kids can go around. They get their names written on a little, like a little fan in whatever language they're stopping by, and they can get stamps and stickers and play games and all sorts of stuff. But Mark, can you tell me which of those two is better and why?
Well, I mean, firstly, the only one I've done was Club Cool, so that kind of automatically gets the vote for me. Yeah. But so I can't talk about the other one, but I don't know, getting my name written, if I was a kid, getting my name written in another language versus getting to drink delicious sodas from all over the world for free, it's going to go with the free treats. So I think that would be the winner, even if I was 5. But
okay,
Club Cool was great. I was disappointed that they got rid of it and surprised they got rid of it. I hadn't seen the announcement for that. So the last time we went and it was all like taped off and gone. That's a bummer because tricking people into drinking Beverly is like, an EPCOT tradition.
Every time I drink that, and I would do it, just all I would think of is Dumbledore at the end of Harry Potter. Alas, earwax. Yeah, it was it wasn't good. But POTUS, you want to tell us what you would choose? Is it EPCOT KidCot or the Club Cool?
It'd be Club Cool for sure.
Simply
because there's an extra thing to it. So the only other place that you can get an experience kind of like that is the one I've been to is the Coca-Cola, I guess, museum or attraction in Georgia, in Atlanta. I mean, that was the other time I've been able to do that. But being able to sample all those drinks, Coca-Cola products from around the world is really, really awesome and unique. And, kids love it. Adults love it. Tricking your friends into drinking Beverly is pretty hysterical. It never gets old. And not just that, but we've actually found some of those sodas in the wild. I know that our local Mexican marketplace, they sold the Inca Cola, I guess. So we actually had it, and because of our
Inca Cola
there,
yep.
Yeah, we were like, hey, that stuff is good. Let's buy some. So Mark actually found it, and we each bought a couple of bottles to take home with us. So it was a learning experience, which is, I guess, the foundational cornerstone of, I guess, what EPCOT's purpose used to be. So we actually got something out of it.
Hopefully they're going to return to that. I know they're bringing in Moana and other characters and everything, but hopefully they will never really lose that learning bit. But if you go through Frozen versus the Maelstrom, it's like it's all entertainment, no learning. What are you going to do? Here's the culture of this fictional town. Well, okay. I'll go over to you then, Professor. Which direction are you going to go? Are you going to save Kid Cop from a shutout, or?
It's really hard because when I was a kid, I actually really did enjoy doing Kid Cop because you got a mask, you got to color it in, and then you went around and, like you said, you basically got. I think they did a stamp at one point, but
yeah, they do now.
But I have to vote for Club Cool because it was truly an experience that I really did love. The only thing that would make me even consider getting rid of it is when they got rid of Kinley, because that was the best flavor.
Kinley was pretty good. I like that raspberry flavored Coke. I forgot where it was from, but
it's like a raspberry cream soda.
Yeah, it was really good, but it smelled bad. I mean, it was horrible. It was like I never smelled soda that turned before, and that's what I came up with. Now, Dalton, had you ever gone into Club Cool? Have you ever gone into the Coke station?
I remember seeing it, but I think by that time I had given up soda. Because when I was about 15, I got way over addicted to Mountain Dew, so I just quit soda cold turkey for the sake of my sanity. However, that being said, I am still a foodie and a snob and an intellectual, and that being said, I have to say that I would vote for Club Cool on general principles alone because it's much more FCOT-ish. If that makes any sense, it's much more in the vein of something that you would expect FCOT to do. And in terms of the novelty and the intrigue of being able to go around the world and try the various different Cokes, yeah, it's worthwhile just by itself, I think.
Now, I did take my daughters when they were really young, and they were Kid Cot age, and they never asked to go back. They've done Kid Cot a couple of times, but more often than not, their first stop had to be Club Cool. And they would go around and try all of them, and then they would dare each other to try Beverly, which was a very bitter Italian drink. There is now a Coca-Cola store in Disney Springs where at the top you can get an alcoholic beverage that uses Beverly as its base. Yeah, I loved it. I got a question for all of you. Who filled up empty water bottles with whatever flavor of soda they liked?
Oh, that was the best thing to do. But there was at one point, like we were going as a family for like a couple weeks straight on EPCOT at least 2 times a week. And we would go and we'd fill up at there. By the end, attendants came and said, "You can't do that."
Yeah, I know. I think that's why they we're losing money. Close it. All righty, let's move on to round to battle number 2 here. And Tim, you want to tell us what is better? Seabase, which is the aquarium at the end of the used to be the Living Seas and now is Nemo, the Seas with Nemo, or ImageWorks, which is the fun house at the end of Imagination.
That's easily going to go to Seabase. Seabase hasn't changed much since it used to be the Living Seas without Nemo. And what's really interesting about it is that historically it was considered the largest aquarium in the United States until the Shed Aquarium opened not too long after. So it's massive. And it's funny because you would just think it's an aquarium. It's kind of an attraction that is not necessarily unique to Disney, but it's the way it's laid out. It's kind of this futuristic aquarium, I guess you could say. The aesthetic hasn't changed, so it's a remaining remnant of classic Epcot that is still really great. We actually go in there normally every year just because it's a cool place to sit down.
Oh yeah,
you can take a nap sometimes if you're really tired. Seeing the dolphins and everything run around is really cool.
And they're running, which is really, that's amazing that they're running.
Yeah, the running fish, right? But
I love it when they sprout legs.
Yes, exactly. I guess if you think about it, the sea turtle kind of runs underwater. I mean, we would call that swimming, but you get the gist.
Right.
ImageWorks was fun when I was a kid, but the problem with ImageWorks is it lost its theming at the time that they revamped Journey into Imagination into kind of this terrible thing that is now.
We're going to be talking about that one. Don't give up too much information.
I won't. But ImageWorks at its time had a very classic appeal because it did not seem it was laden with ADHD. It was really kind of wholesome and honest. And I just remember as a kid, like even with mom and dad, there were maybe 5 or 6 things that we would play with, and they were really cool. But now it's catered entirely to children, and it's really lost a lot of its family appeal. I think closing down their Rainbow Arched Bridge was a huge disservice to it, and so it's lost a lot of its of any reason to stay in there longer than just a fleeting glance.
I'm going to agree with you on this. I'm much more interested in sea life than, oh, look, I'm playing the instruments. It just, I'd rather see the sea creatures. Now, granted, getting my wife to stay in any of these is a difficult proposition, but I love animals. It's just a lot of fun to watch. Like you said, you got this huge aquarium. You can go and watch the manatees, and they've got all sorts of tiny fish and these taller, you can watch the shrimp and everything. I just enjoy that a lot more than what they've got to offer in ImageWorks. I think that is, you nailed it when you said it was for the smaller children. Now there's, and even with my kids, they were far more interested in seeing the fish than they are the other. How about you, Mark? Which direction would you go? Sea-Base or ImageWorks?
Well, I mean, so I didn't go to Epcot until I was an adult, so we never did ImageWorks because, I mean, it's kind of like we talked about last time, the circus area outside Dumbo at Magic Kingdom. Yeah. It's a playground for kids, so not really a thing adults can enjoy. That said, I've seen videos of what it used to be, especially that's the thing, is that it did look fun. I remember watching the Disney Channel, like, beg your mom to take you to Epcot, kids, or you'll kill yourself, and they would show that rainbow bridge, that rainbow arch. And I thought that was one of the coolest looking things. And I mean, it's really depressing that it's gone now. It was something that was such an institution of that area, and it's gone. But since I only did I just call it the aquarium. I know it's called the Seas, but I mean, literally it's just an aquarium. It's a neat aquarium. It's got manatees, and they're fun to watch. They always look sad though. But I'm not passionate about the aquarium, but since it's the only one of the two I've done, the aquarium, I guess.
Sorry about that. Had a sneezing jag. All righty. How about you, Professor? I mean, it's already settled, but
I would have had gone with with the aquarium too.
Okay.
I really do have fond memories of ImageWorks, but right now, especially right now, it's so outdated. Everything there is so outdated.
It's almost like it's going, hey, look, and one day, kids, you'll be able to call people from a phone in your hand. It really is. But
you can't outdate sea creatures. So I guess that. And
you should date sea creatures, for those of you who are thinking about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Shape of Water certainly made a persuasive case, but that's neither here nor there.
Dalton, please stop.
Okay, and thank you for your 2 cents there. Have you ever been to either one of those, Dalton?
I think we did both of them, actually. And I'm not gonna break the pattern because the thing of the Seas is they're living, breathing, honest to goodness animals. So no matter how many times you do it, there's going to be a surprise. And like Tim and Mark both said, it is one of the largest aquariums that are in the United States. So there's plenty to go through. As with ImageWorks, I don't know if stuff was just closed a lot when we went down because of construction, because there was a lot of construction when we went, because we picked basically the worst time to go. But even when we went, I think there was aspects of it that were closed, and I was just like, this is a waste. It much like most of Epcot, it needs love and a reskin and a revamping.
They're working on it. They are working on it now.
Does whenever you go in the aquarium, does anyone else get sad when they close off the manatees and you can't look at them?
Yes, I do. And also, I will point out something I love. They now have holograms of Nemo characters in the aquarium. And my favorite is when you see the shark coming up on them, like a live shark's heading towards them. And just once, I want to see it just go right. No, it's a real, they have real sharks in there. And occasionally they'll be swimming by the animated characters. And all I'm thinking is, I just want to see him swallow the animated characters.
Well, they should add Bruce in next to his people. Is what should happen. They should add Bruce.
Now I'm going to keep up the imagination versus Nemo and the seas, and I'm going to ask Professor Pixel, Turtle Talk with Crush or the Disney Pixar shorts?
Oh, okay, never mind. This is no question. Disney Pixar shorts.
Alrighty. Why would you say that?
Well, Turtle Talk it's another one of those kiddie attractions. It's not really. If we were comparing it to, say, the Laugh Floor, it would.
But they're the same thing.
It's the same thing, but it still pales in comparison. Sorry, the surfer dude sea turtle does not appeal to me as an attraction, and I'd rather go in and watch a few shorts. It's a good way to kill time. You're in those big cushiony seats, and I love it when they have the Get a Horse one. That's just perfect. You have Mickey in it.
Mark, have you ever subjected yourself to this?
Yeah, I've done both, and I mean, I would much rather watch Pixar shorts that I can watch at home than deal with that stupid turtle. I mean, there's always. I think we've done the turtle like twice, maybe 3 times, like when we're going with someone new. But it's, again, there's a lot at Epcot. A lot of these attractions, they're just for little kids. There's really not that much appeal for adults. Maybe because it's the educational park. I don't know. But it's the turtle. The kids sit down. It's like story time with Belle. It's, it's a really kindergarten-y kind of thing. And the turtle just swims around, and there's always that one kid where the turtle's like, "Hey, bro, what's going on, dude?" And the kid immediately starts crying and screaming and has to be dragged out of there. I mean, that's maybe the only entertaining part of that entire experience.
And you're absolutely right about that. And at least the Pixar shorts, like you said, you have them on Disney Plus now. And if you've bought the movies as you've gone along, you've got them all. Plus, they've come on their own DVD. You might have them at home, but at least they're entertaining to both kids and adults.
Right. And I mean, if you just need a minute to sit there and look at your phone and not have to really deal with anything, and just enjoy some air conditioning, then the Pixar shorts.
Yeah, I got to go with that as well. So that settled that. Dalton, have you seen either of these?
Yeah.
You have. Which one did you see?
I watched all of the Pixar shorts, and also I remember us going in to the Crush one for a little bit, and I don't remember us having a good time. So I suspect that I'm not going to break the pattern on this one either. Yeah, not to mention that I have a lot of love for the Pixar shorts. I've always had a lot of love for the Pixar shorts. If for no other reason than intellectually, I know that was how cartoons used to be done. Like all cartoons, like the Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies and so on, were the feature before the feature originally. Plus, one of my earliest memories is watching the short with the chess player. I believe it's Gendy's game.
Gerald's
game. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Gerald's game is a Stephen King book. That's
a very different thing.
Okay, so I got that wrong. I thought it was Gerald.
It is. I'm pretty sure it is Gerald's game.
I know that is a completely different thing. That is a horror movie.
Yeah,
title.
That's a Stephen King title that I just came up with.
Jerry's game.
Jerry's game. See, you know what? Jerry is short for Gerald. We all know that.
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing, Maranya and Zach's in the house. Leandra is here as well, and of course Dragon Ball. who was taking a break at Taco Bell. Would you have voted different from the group there, POTUS?
Yes, I would have actually voted for Turtle Talk.
Wow. What? Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? Just for fun, I'm going to give it its little one vote right there. Okay. That it wasn't.
Explain.
Yeah,
sir.
we need an explanation.
Explain yourself.
So, what Disney is expensive to go to, and it really does boil down to a money thing. I am not going to objectively give props to an attraction that's basically something where if you have the DVD collection at home, you could just watch all of them at home. You're paying for stuff that you don't necessarily get to see every day. And don't get me wrong, I don't like either attraction at all, but objectively speaking, if I have a kid with me and they're like, Daddy, like we need to do something new, I'm like, okay, well, if you're going to choose between these two, you're going to see the damn turtle.
Okay.
I want to see the shorts. You have those at home.
That actually makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to start this one because I don't know if this is so new. I might be the only one who saw both of these. But the next one is Awesome Planet versus Canada, Far and Wide. And that's the little Canada travel log. For those of you who don't know, in EPCOT, a lot of the worlds, actually only about 3 or 4, a lot of the countries, and I just said a lot again, have little travel log movies. Norway used to have one, and they would just kind of say, oh, and this is China, or hello, this is France. Yep, there you go. Come on over. And then, of course, Canada. But the problem with all of them are they're terribly outdated. So that's what's going on there. And Awesome Planet, in my opinion, is like the Discovery Channel's theme park ride. And based on that, in all honesty, I'd rather watch the Canada thing over and over. At least occasionally you'll hear Martin Short say something funny, not often, but you know, that's just Martin Short. But yeah, have you guys done Awesome Planet?
What the hell is Awesome Planet?
That's what I was afraid of.
I might have done it. I may not recognize
Awesome
the
Planet
name.
is what took over the Kitchen Rocks in like if you were going to Living with the Land and you veered off to the right, it's straight ahead there, and they do their little show thing.
No, I've never
I
seen
did it.
that.
Okay, what'd you think, POTUS? And I think we lost Dalton. Hopefully he'll be able to pop back on.
I think Canada's better for sure.
Canada's better?
Yeah.
Mark, were you with him?
Tim, was I ever with you for Awesome Planet?
I don't think
Did I ever
so.
do that?
No.
Okay, then clearly if I did it, I don't remember it. So yeah, Canada. And I mean, of the 3 Circle Vision movies, I think
Canada's the worst, for sure.
Worst. It is the worst. And I mean, France isn't great. I love China. China's awesome. We do it every time.
We're getting to that.
France,
come on, guys. You're giving away the house here. Yeah.
All right. I'll stop talking. But yeah, okay, fine. Canada. Martin Short's not funny, but all right.
Yeah, we'll get. Yeah. Wasn't he funny once? Yes, in Father of the Bride. All righty. So yeah, I'm gonna skip over because apparently not a lot of people have seen Awesome Planet. So Dalton.
Hey, I have a question. Why didn't you put it up against Kitchen Cabaret or Food Rocks?
Because they're not there anymore.
That's true. Okay.
We're not talking about the.
We're not talking about the good old days. Otherwise, we'd have the whole brain area in there.
Yeah, Cranium Command.
Oh my goodness, I miss Body Wars. I loved Body Wars. I mean, a lot of people had trouble because they were going through a freaking body, but I thought that was the better of the screen-based rides. Dalton, have you seen either Reflections of China or Impressions of de France, or both? Are you with us, Dalton?
Dalton, can you hear me?
Okay, let me start with Professor, and when he gets a sound there, he could bounce in. Professor, how about it? Reflections of China or Impressions de France?
Comparing the two, I think China. I think that, well, part of it just has to do with the country. I find China far more visually stimulating.
China.
Yes.
Please don't make it you who does the perfect Chinese impersonation there, guy. No, I'm just kidding. Where would you stand then, POTUS, and why?
No, I think it is the Circle Vision China experience. So the funny thing about that, though, is as a kid, I didn't like it because you can't sit down. You have to stand up and watch. But as I've grown older, I think the presentation is a lot bigger. I think the Circle Vision is really cool. They've changed the film once. Essentially, it's the same narrator and stuff. They just, I think they changed some of the visuals. They changed the actor. And I know they're undergoing another renovation. But it has its charm. It's not that long. Like, it's a pretty easy breezy, like 15-minute show. It's air conditioned, and they really do a good job as far as like a travel video is concerned. Even though it hasn't been updated in quite a while, they even say in the video that there's a timelessness to China that's there, and so it does do its job in terms of actively trying to promote tourism to China. Here's a funny story though. The narrator in that film is Li Bai. I think it's Li Bai. He was a Chinese poet. Mm-hmm. He died while he was high on opium and thought he could reach the moon by its reflection in the water. So he fell off his boat trying to get to the moon through the water, and he drowned.
So what you're saying is we can't do that. Okay.
You cannot. No. Don't try this at home, kids.
Alrighty, I'll leave since you already gave away the vote there, Mark. How about you tell us why you chose China?
I mean, France is depressing because it's like, look at how awesome France was in the 1980s, and then you turn on the news and you see how terrible Paris is now, and you realize that world is gone forever, and it's just like, I can never visit. Yeah, I mean, the China one is obviously very selective, especially the part where they're talking about Hong Kong, like, this land of Portuguese charm is once again within China's borders. Yeah, and you immediately put your boot down on it.
And as a Chinese man, you can carry any kind of weapon in there and subjugate any of the citizens. Politics aside, though, I got to agree with you guys. I think the Chinese, the China pavilion, don't even go in yet and just look at the theaters for both of them. One looks like, okay, any building in France. The other one is this huge temple-like building.
Temple of Heaven. It's a recreation of it.
You got the koi ponds on either side. It is gorgeous. It's one of the greatest picture spots in Epcot. You go inside and it's got these vaulted ceilings, the columns, Mulan's over there, and that's always a nice thing. And it's just this really nice theater. And like you said, young, I think part of the reason why when you get older, your back actually lines up with the cushion so you can lean up against it and it's okay. But you got the Circle Vision, which actually works if you're focused in on the movie. When it goes like into the along the river and the movie is kind of sailing along, the motion actually works on you with the 360 vision. I think just overall, this is a far better attraction. Not just the movie, which yes, I am more interested in China than I am in France anyway, but I actually think it works more as an attraction than just the movie itself. So, yeah, I would definitely have backed you guys up on that one. Let's go back over to Tim though. And which one? The living seas, the seas with a Nemo, or Journey to Imagination, Tim? Which one would you?
Seas with Nemo.
Yeah. Why would you?
I knew you were going to pit those two against each other.
Am I becoming predictable, Tim? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I just think it's a smart choice because they have a lot of commonalities together. Both of them were original opening day attractions, but eventually had a turn where they were revamped and reskinned essentially. But because the Seas with Nemo and Friends, it really does what it is supposed to do, which is you ride in the clamshell, you can see Nemo kind of superimposed on top of an aquarium. It's a quick ride. It's not annoying. Like it has a degree of charm to it, but Journey into Imagination in its current incarnation is atrocious. And coupled with that is what it replaced, which was the original Journey into Imagination, which had nothing wrong with it. I mean, I told this to Mark. I said, I know that you think that attraction is annoying. Watch the footage of the original, and you're going to be mind boggled in terms of what they did. It's like these people, the current Imagineers, they're so tone deaf. Like, I think a lot of them are they're like childless weirdos, so they don't understand what appeals to children and adults. But Figment in Journey into Imagination, in his original incarnation, he had a childlike wonder, but the current Figment is childish, and he's so annoying and overbearing that he represents essentially everything that parents hate in children, and that's what he embodies. So every time you go on that ride, you're just annoyed for 5 minutes or however long the ride takes. It's like, none of this is appealing, none of it's enjoyable. It was so slapdash in terms of what they did with it. So while it's lost a lot of its original appeal, The Seas with Nemo and Friends, it's not offensive, and I think that that's what makes it win out.
All righty, how about you, Mark? Where do you stand on this one?
I mean, The Seas with Nemo, because at least it doesn't fart in your face, which the Journey to Imagination does. I hate it every time. It's gross and stupid, and even when you hold your breath, you still end up smelling it later on. It's just like, this is terrible. It's like the ride knows it's terrible, and so it's like, we tricked you into riding this awful thing. Now we're just going to make it worse. I mean, Seas with Nemo isn't great. It's honestly a pretty ho-hum dark ride, but at least it's like Tim said, at least it's not annoying. And I know that Journey into Imagination used to be good. I never got to ride the good version. My only impression is how it is now, and it's bad. It's funny. The first time I went to Epcot with Tim, we didn't ride the Journey into Imagination. He never mentioned it. He never brought it up. And and he didn't say anything. With the whole day at the park, I didn't even know that ride existed. And then we were at a different park the next day, and I kept seeing all these people wearing purple dragon hats. And so I finally asked Tim, like, what are those hats from? Who's that character, and why is everyone wearing them? And Tim's like, oh, that's Journey into Imagination at Epcot. Like, what? Why didn't we go there? Like, you don't want to go there.
Are you sure you didn't go there because Tim was just running too fast? It looked like a blur instead of a bend.
Believe it or not, I'm faster than Tim. Yeah.
Okay. I was going to give this to you, Prof. I'm sorry. I got to speak up on this just to defend the Seas with Nemo because of what Mark said. I think it's a pretty good dark ride. It does not only does it go through the movie, which I think it has some great props and some good animatronics and everything, but then afterwards, like I said, you got the aquarium behind all the characters. I literally do like this ride. Not my favorite at Epcot, but it is an enjoyable one. But I'm going to agree with you guys, The Seas with Nemo. And I'll tell you something. Not only did I ride the original, I did it as a child. I was there on opening day when I was 10 years old. So I did it as a kid. So it worked its magic on me. I love the Dreamfinder. I love Figment. And I never heard it put so eloquently, POTUS, as the changing of Figment from being childlike to childish.
And I'll tell you something else. So I was there the year after opening, and my only souvenir from Disney World was I had a miniature Figment where he's the astronaut suit doing the hitchhiking finger, like the hitchhiking thumb. And when I got off that ride, I loved that character. And that's why even to this day, there's still his merchandise around, because I think it's a lot of kids who grew up into adults and they remembered like how it used to be. And he gave everyone like the warm fuzzies. You could not leave that ride without being happy.
How old are you?
I'm not going to say. I'm in my 30s.
Wait, you couldn't have been at Epcot.
No, it wasn't. No, because I was, so it was a few years later. So not the year after, because it opened in 1982. It was I think it was 3 or 4 years after that. So I was really little. I wasn't even in kindergarten.
Okay. I was saying, man, I mean, I know Asian people stay young for forever, but holy Toledo, you're my age. Yeah. that would really have to talk to God when I got to see him then. All righty. So which way would you have voted, Professor?
It's really hard because while I do agree that from what I've heard of the original, I never got to ride it either. So I'm in Mark's shoes. So what I've heard of the original, it sounds way better than what it is now. But at the same time, when it comes to the musical experience of that compared to Nemo, which is what the whole reason to ride that ride is the song, because the song is just so dang good.
It really is. Yeah.
And so I would have had to gone with Journey to Imagination just because I love that song so much. And I still like Figment, even though he is annoying.
All righty. Well, at least it got one vote, or it would have anyway. All righty, Mark, I got a battle for you. And I don't know. This one could go either way. We may have needed Dalton on this one. Oh, Dalton, shoot. I've got a great idea. Dalton, if you're listening in, get in the comment section because he dropped out.
We can use you, Dalton, even if you can't. Even if you can't speak currently, we can still use you.
Yeah, there you go. I sent a message to him. Yeah, if you're listening in, Dalton, be in the comment section for ties just in case. So, Mark, you want to start us off and tell us the Grand Fiesta Tour starring the Three Caballeros or Frozen Ever After?
Three Caballeros. And let me explain myself on this one, because both rides are in a similar situation. They were originally completely independent original IPs that got a facelift to add elements from Disney animated IPs to them. The difference, though, is that Three Caballeros are those characters of Jose Carioca and Panchito Pistoles and, of course, Donald. They were created as educational characters for Saludos Amigos and then Three Caballeros to explore and explain Central and South American cultures to people. It's almost amazing to imagine that they weren't in that ride originally because they feel like they fit into it so well. It was such a smooth transition adding them to the ride. I mean, it has those screens now with the little cartoon. I've watched the old ride through from someone's camcorders. I mean, most of the old animatronics are still in there. They have the new animatronics of the Three Caballeros at the end, which look really good. Only thing is those screens break a lot, and you ended up with like either dead screens or screens that have like a Windows error message on them, which I get. But I think that actually was a case where adding the Three Caballeros, the existing Grand Fiesta Tour, improved it, made a lot of sense, and is such an organic and intuitive change that I'd never met anybody who really minded. Whereas Frozen was such a pointless overhaul of the Maelstrom. It removed all the cultural, educational aspects of that ride originally, and it just turned it into this vacuous tie-in promotion for a popular movie. It's a fictional country. It's not even really Norway. And it's just a worse ride than what was there before. The Maelstrom was cool. I mean, they even got rid of the over the falls part. They literally put a big rock over the falls in that section where your boat would tip out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got rid of that completely. So they actually made the ride lamer. And then, I mean, they got rid of the scary trolls that go over the falls, you know, and it's so much weaker now. It's lost the intent of what Epcot was supposed to be. And I think it's the big complaint about Epcot now is that it's just becoming another movie and cartoon IP place like Hollywood Studios and the Magic Kingdom. And whatever educational content that Epcot used to have is just almost completely extinct there now. Okay. Whereas Three Caballeros Grand Fiesta Tour feels almost like it's still trying to keep that thread alive. So yeah, that's my vote.
Oh, I was hoping you would give it to me. Frozen Ever After is a bastardization of fantastic.
I was about to put the check. Okay, go on ahead.
What?
Rip in.
It's just so. The animatronics are cool. Yes. But whenever you take away every bit of charm that ride had, the whole swamp experience with the trolls coming at you was something that, as a little kid, it stayed in your mind and you grew up to love it. When you go back and the giant troll head basically pushes you aside and you go down that waterfall, it was fantastic. The polar bears, the oil drills, it was so immersive. And now it's just gross what they've done to it. It's like the ride has been raped.
Oh my gosh, that's heavy words there, POTUS. You have to have something kind to say.
I agree with Mark. The thing I'll add to it too is that what makes the Mexico ride really good, though, is it's a good compromise between the educational component and the IP. It's kind of like what we talked about last week with Pirates of the Caribbean. I thought the inclusion of Johnny Depp was non-intrusive, and it was actually good because you augment the ride experience without necessarily taking away from its original intent. And even though I think the Frozen ride is technologically superior, I think what it stripped away and the precedent it set was not good, because just think about it. The Frozen ride right now, it might be kind of an e-ticket attraction, but only as long as the longevity of it exists. Whereas I've always felt that a ride like the Maelstrom, all it would have needed was an upgrade in terms of its quality or an addition, and you would have preserved it for much longer. So I do agree that even though I think Frozen is a technologically much better ride, I think that the Mexico ride with the Gran Fiesta Tour, it has not lost its charm. And that's one of those rides where, yes, it's boring, it's slow, but we do it every year.
And it encapsulates EPCOT wholly.
Okay, I've got to say, the one thing I absolutely hate about the Gran Fiesta ride is that every time I'm on it, there's some ugly fat man in a stupid Disney hat singing that song to the top of his ability, even when the words aren't there. And I just can't. And what really bothers me is that the woman beside him is always just saying, hush, hush, hush. And how can I get her to stop saying hush is what I really don't know about here.
Do you know why you have that experience? It's really actually, there's an explanation for it. It's because of the people who are drunk from the pavilion getting on the ride.
Yeah, you do. I don't drink. You do realize I was talking about myself, right?
Oh.
I'm always they share the star. We have the stars to guide us.
I didn't catch on to that
song, man.
You're obnoxious then, Eglantine.
Sometimes I can be. Actually, I never sing. I'm always like Three Caballeros until somebody's behind us. But if like the last time, because of the whole social distancing, we had our own boat. So
I always have our own boat every time we're on that ride.
No, it's been busy the last couple times until the new rules. But holy Toledo, I loved it. But I always go on that ride. The Gran Fiesta is one of my favorite rides at the park. Speaking on Frozen, though, I agree with Mark. It was you, POTUS, who said technically it's a Marvel. I do like the Olaf animatronic. The Elsa animatronic is amazing. And yes, you can get that song stuck in your head too, but only for a second. And then they're off and on to another song. Three Caballeros is all the way through. It's almost like Epcot Small World, but with a better song. So it's amazing. Maranya is saying, I'm amazed that they put Johnny Depp's character in the Pirates ride, given the lawsuit with him and his ex-wife, plus Mouse appearing to not want him in the new movies.
They added him years before all that garbage.
Yep. Let's see. If you were a Disney character, which character would you be? That is a whole Oh My Disney quiz thing that we would need to go through. All righty. So Gran Fiesta Tour moves to the next one, and we move to the Professor.
Howdy.
And you're going to tell us which one you prefer between the Test Track and Mission Space.
Mission Space. I had to think about it a moment because I always confuse Mission Space and Spaceship Earth, but just because of the names. But no, Mission Space. Between the two, I think that I would have to go with Test Track.
Okay.
Test Track, where it's been updated more recently, I feel. Even though Mission Space does have the new, who is it?
Gary Sinise.
They got rid of Gary Sinise.
Really?
They replaced
with a lady.
Yeah, I think they replaced him with Gina Torres. Even though they changed that, the ride is basically the same. The inside, exactly the same. Whereas with Test Track, while they updated it, it is sleek and cool. And plus, it has the immersive element of you getting to design your own car, which is great for the kids. And I just feel like between the two, I'd rather ride Test Track than Mission Space.
All righty. Mark, how about you? Where would you sit?
Test Track. So when we do Test Track, we do single rider, so we go through faster. So we don't do the build your own car thing, but that is a neat thing to keep, families busy. Mission Space is just, I've never gotten sick on Mission Space, so that complaint doesn't affect me. It's just, I don't know. It's not as fun. You sit in a pod and you press a button and you feel a little bit of centrifugal force on you, but you can do that at a carnival. The little movie you watch that you have to interact with, they really need to update because it looks old and bad now. Test Track is, maybe Test Track's kind of typical, but it's really fun. You have that first part where you go through the dark ride segment and you nearly get hit by the truck and you go through the fire and ice and stuff. And then you have the big attraction when you go around that big thing for like 60 miles an hour. Like, that's fun. So Test Track.
All righty. Thump?
Yeah, I'll go with Test Track also. Believe it or not, Mission Space, we used to do that ride every year. And just within the last 2 years, we just ignore it because, I think thematically, I think it's cool because you're blasting off. It's really neat. If you can tolerate it, the experience of the G-forces is pretty neat. But in reality, it's almost like, do we want to go through any form of discomfort just for a little momentary thrill is what it boils down to. And in our party, typically 5 or 6 of us, the majority of people are like, yeah, do we want to wait in line just for that? So we just end up skipping it. And it's kind of a shame because it's an e-ticket attraction. Typically it's not a long wait for us, but we're like, no, that's actually one that we can pass on. I don't get sick on that ride, but after we get off, like every single one of us kind of has that feeling of uneasiness where we're like, wow, we don't feel that great. And then it wears off after a little bit, but it just doesn't do anything for us. With Test Track, I think it's pretty fun no matter who you are.
I do get sick on the ride. So I always have to go on the boring part, and that I would have gone Test Track because it's just more accessible. And forget you with that whole it's good for the kids. I like designing my own car. Thank you very much. That's part of the fun of it.
I have a question for you then, Eglantine, because we've never done the other side of Mission Space. Is it the same ride just without the spinning?
Yeah. It's only a Gravitron. I used to do that as a kid all the time. Yeah. That for those of you who might not know, it's a ride that it's a centrifugal force thing where it pushes you up and then it raises you up. I just can't handle that kind of thing nowadays. But the other one is you go through all the bits. You got to work as a team. It just doesn't have the spinning. That's the only difference. So yeah, that's I would have agreed with you guys. I think Test Track is a hell of a lot of fun. The upgrade because they were originally going to make it Tron and they didn't. They backed out. I think that's the whole computer grid thing.
Yeah,
doesn't add anything. But I do like the design your car bits about it. And of course, I like the fact that the kids enjoy going around in basically you're driving in a convertible thing, but it's far more entertaining than Mission Space. Now, last time we did Magic Kingdom, it occurred to me that I was giving myself all the easy decisions. So I figured since Dalton was not able to join us, I would give myself the only what I consider hard decision here. And the next battle is between the Living with the Land and Spaceship Earth. And so I figured I was going to be looking down at this, and by the time it came time to do this, I would have an answer. And I got to tell you, these are two of my favorite rides at the park. You got Spaceship Earth, which of course has all the audio. This is classic Disney. We mentioned classic Disney a lot when we're talking about Magic Kingdom and everything, but this is an audio animatronic ride. This is what's pure about it, and it's about communication throughout the ages. On the way up, on the way down, it's a BS cartoon that they play for you. So to me, half of this ride is brilliant, and then you got Living with the Land, which is basically all about how it's an educational. This is what Epcot was there for, and it's all about how we can use the land for our benefit, and how we're not even held to old ways of doing things anymore. So it is absolutely educational. It's got a few audio animatronics, but mostly it is just, and this is the ideas. This is the future of farming. This is the future of gardening, and so forth and so on. In all honesty, half a ride for I you know what? As much as I love Spaceship Earth, I think I just talked myself into Living with the Land. All righty, who wants to go next? Usually I call out, but Mark, you want to take it?
Sure. I mean, I actually like both of them, but it's sort of no contest. Mission Earth is just architecturally, it's such an amazing ride that they could fit it all in that dome, and you're going around in a circle and a spiral all the way up, and you're seeing all these wonderful animatronic diorama scenes. It's just a great piece of engineering. But what I appreciate most about Spaceship Earth is that the facility itself, the geodesic dome, is the centerpiece of the park, and it actually has a ride in it. The Cinderella's Castle doesn't have a ride. It has a little walkthrough and a stage on it. The Tree of Life has that Bugs Life stage show, 3D show underneath it. And I don't even think, Hollywood Studios has changed its centerpiece so many times. Like, it used to be that stupid water tower, and then for a while it was the Chinese Theater, which did have a ride in it, and then it was the Top Hat or the Sorcerer's Hat for a while. I almost don't even think it has a real centerpiece, but Epcot does. It has a really cool ride inside its centerpiece. When you see that geodesic dome, it actually doesn't just look cool, it is cool. It has something fun to do in it. The land is all right. The land's just a boat ride where you can see where corn is grown.
Okay. That's about it. All right. Where's your icon from? Your RDV's asking. Mark?
Huh? Where did my what come from?
Your profile pic.
Oh, it's from a movie called Rock and Roll Nightmare. Go see it. It's terrible. You'll love it.
There you go. All righty. All righty, POTUS Thump. Where do you stand on this one?
Yeah, I'll go with Spaceship Earth as well.
All right.
I mean, I like Living with the Land. I like it more as an adult. Honestly, as a kid, I thought it was boring, but
I can see that. See that.
And I appreciate it. And I don't like I don't like the current incarnation of Spaceship Earth. I think the previous two were vastly superior, but I still think that it still encapsulates kind of what it is about, which is the journey, the story of communication. So I just think that overall, I mean, you get your bang for your buck. It's a long ride. It's air conditioned. It's cool. You can take a nap in there. You do whatever you want. I just think that it's wholesome, enjoyable. It's timeless, and I don't want to see it go.
Okay, Professor.
I can't believe I'm going to have to do this. I have to go with Living with the Land.
Holy Toledo, we've got a tie.
Yeah, because
in the comment section.
Because Epcot, as it's supposed to be, it's Living with the Land is just perfect for it. I do love the ride, but we have said that the previous versions were better. And when it comes to Living with the Land, the only thing that's different is that they don't have a person giving the spiel anymore. And while I would prefer a person doing it, it's still important to the fundamentals of Epcot as a park. And if you get rid of that education, you have completely just destroyed the meaning of the park. we'll never get Walt's Epcot, but this is the closest we can come to something to teach in a fun way. And while we have said, yes, this is boring, to a kid, both of these are boring. So it doesn't matter.
Okay, anybody want to make an argument?
I always liked Spaceship Earth, even as a kid. I did not like the land.
Yeah, I've got to say, I think to a kid, Spaceship Earth probably. I voted for Living with the Land, but as an adult, I got to say, as a kid, yeah, I would have to go. I would have gone Spaceship Earth as well. How about you, Mark? What would be your second? What would be your secondary argument?
Wait, you just asked me if I prefer the land or Spaceship Earth.
No. I'm saying, what else? Do you have anything else to add to the conversation? Because I'm about to move both of these forward.
No. I mean, it's like I said, I don't dislike the land. I enjoy it. But I think both rides are educational and speak to the fundamental themes of what Epcot was supposed to be. And like I said, when we talked about Frozen, so much of that's lost. But even if this incarnation of Spaceship Earth isn't as good as past ones, I don't think it's been neutered in any fundamental way or any substantial way. It's still good. So yeah, Spaceship Earth.
Okay. Wait 1 second. I will say, because of what we said about kids and stuff earlier on, what they do love whenever they're in that little cartoon and it actually gets a picture of your face. It rarely does, but when it does, they always love that. And thus, for that sake, I will say that.
Are you gonna change your vote?
Yeah, I'll change my vote.
All righty. Okay, because I was literally gonna move them both into the next round, but okay, there you go. All righty, that works out. That works out. So let's Spaceship Earth is gonna move forward, and we're gonna go to the next round, the final battle. Tim, I don't know how hard this is gonna be for you, but we've got Soarin' or the American Adventure.
It's not hard. American Adventure. And I love soaring. Don't get me wrong, but there is a soaring over California. I think there's another soaring in one of the foreign parks as well.
In Japan, yeah.
In Japan. The American Adventure is not only timeless, but going back to my argument for the Hall of Presidents, it is a miracle that it exists given the current political climate. And it really did a good job encapsulating kind of the patriotism of the American spirit. And even though Walt did not live long enough to see Epcot realize, one thing that was always in the design notes in his concept of a permanent World's Fair is he said, I don't care what you do, America is front and center because it's the host of all nations. So wherever you put it in the park, it always has to be in the center. And so when they did Epcot, I think that one of the greatest tributes they did was the American Adventure. They're like, this has to be a slam bang show. We have to really put, how do you do that? How do you condense years of American history into a 20-minute show? And they did it. And there's aspects of the show that honestly, I might not agree with, right? Like, especially at the end montage, they have some people up there where I'm like, oh my gosh, that guy. But yeah. I think it's very satisfactory in terms of who they have up there. I think that Soaring is a wonderful ride. We do it every year. It's actually the first ride we typically will do, but it can be replaced. Like, it can be something that people can do without. It can be upgraded, et cetera, et cetera. I think the fact that American Adventure has stood there and stood the test of time is a real testimony to its inherent value. And I think it really does represent what the World Showcase is about. And I think that if you're I'll be honest, if you're a foreigner visiting Epcot and you don't go on the American Adventure, I think you need to get the hell out, because what are you there for? Like, you have to know why we love our country. If for nothing else, it's that.
I actually talked to a British student who was down here, and he says he liked the American Adventure because when he walked out, even he was going "Rah Rah America" because of that song. Mark, which way would you go?
American Adventure. It really does make your patriotism swell. You can say that it's manipulative, whatever, but it does encapsulate all the best things about being an American. It makes you proud to be an American. And that's becoming less and less popular these days. We Americans, it's
I don't know if
it's trendy to heap hatred on ourselves as Americans, and you get rewarded for it, especially on your international social media. If you're an American, you go and you say "we suck" on Twitter, you'll get a whole bunch of Russians and Chinese and French people saying "right on, America sucks," and you get all this validation for it. So it's something that's going out of style, but that show is still there. That show is still wonderful. Great song, all great animatronics. In terms of Soarin's fun. It's a good ride. I liked the California version even when that was in Epcot, I liked it better, mostly because it didn't use as much CGI. The ride footage would be great if it just didn't have so much CGI, because it's like, what's the point? It's like I'm watching a CG movie instead of watching actual video footage. Especially, I swear the Taj Mahal is entirely CG created in the new film. It doesn't look real. The American Adventure all the way.
And everybody talks about the Bindi Tower of Pisa, or no, it's the Eiffel Tower, the Bindi Tower. Yeah. Professor, bring us home. Which direction are you going to go on, Soarin' or American Adventure?
America, spread your golden wings. I have to go with America.
The American Adventure, and why would you say this?
I mean, we've summed it up pretty well. It is that ultimate classic Disney Americana, like we discussed with Hall of Presidents. But I think this is better than Hall of Presidents. I find the animatronics even smoother, and the whole experience between Benjamin Franklin and Mark Twain. I just love it. It is truly an enjoyable experience every time I go. Soarin', after you do it the first 15 times, waiting an hour each time, it loses its charm to me. It always has. But you can never lose that charm with America.
I like the way you said with America.
Pause.
Like, I love Soarin' as a ride. I do appreciate the original before, because it looked like they actually took a helicopter and filmed what they were showing for most of it. But I don't come out singing any song from Soarin'. I don't do any. Not only do I love the show itself in America, but I like to show up early so I hear the Voices of Liberty. I like their show as well. I like the museum that's on the inside there. All the quotes from Walt Disney that are all over the building. You're going up as you go up the escalators. They've got the flags from the very first to the one we use now. It is just Americana. I mean, and I get it. It goes overboard sometimes, but you know what? I don't care. I've said this many, many times. Sometimes the best piece of cheese is a big old fat old piece of American cheese, and just not on a hamburger. It's absolutely a gorgeous show. It's got great audio animatronics. I always point to the Ben Franklin who walks up the stairs with a limp. I mean, they really went all out for this show, and it's there. I love every bit of it. I got to tell you, that's I would have agreed with you guys. Alrighty. So
fun fact: girls cry on that attraction all the time.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Where did you hear this, and why do you think that is so?
Just personal experience.
Are you sure it's not something you're doing?
No, we Mark and I don't cry on that ride because we're men. We're men. So.
Okay.
Hey, never feel ashamed for shedding a manly tear for America.
Only one. It can only be from one eye, and you can't have sniffles.
It's enough to make a grown man cry.
That's the rule.
Okay. That is fine. So here is the winners so far, and these are the ones that are moving on to round 2. We have Club Cool, we have the Sea Base, Disney Pixar Shorts, Canada Far and Wide, Reflections of China, The Seas with Nemo, Grand Fiesta, Test Track, Spaceship Earth, and America. The American Adventure. Say again.
Now I want to get on to it, but we have to wait.
Yeah, well, we're gonna get there next week. We're gonna do round 2 and 3, and we're gonna basically close this out. And of course, this is what we're doing for the next couple of weeks. Is the next few weeks as we then go to Hollywood Studios and the Animal Kingdom. I hope you guys have enjoyed it so far.
Hell yeah!
And along the way, we've been talking, and I think there's so many of these videos to make, and not just about the parks, but the movies, the songs, and everything as well. I'm glad you guys are having fun doing this. I appreciate everybody showing up to listen to us as well. It's a lot of fun. Mark, thanks for hanging out as well as POTUS Thump. Professor, I certainly appreciate this. And everybody in the audience, I got to say thank you very, very much for watching. Have a zippity-doo-dah day.